Welcome. I can't believe it's Sunday night again. Sunday Songwriters in the Round. And here we are. I am so happy this week to be joined by some good friends and some new friends in the music world. We've got some guests from Canada, from Jersey City, from Canada again, from, no, wait, you're Vancouver. Right, that is Canada. Okay, it's a geography lesson.
Yeah, Jane is Toronto, and I'm Vancouver, so we're the extreme opposites right now.
Right, and Ed, where are you hailing from?
I'm from Seattle.
Seattle.
Oh, hey, Seattle.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half from you.
Yeah.
Right.
I could get over the border.
That's true.
So that's Ed Hartman from Ed Hartman Music. And I met Ed at some music events online from Sync Summit. And Ed has a bunch of successful placements in film and TV. So he'll share some of his insights with us and some of his success. And Chrissy, I know because we're neighbors and we did our CD release party together right before the pandemic hit. We didn't cause it, I swear. They were good CDs, but they didn't have that kind of an impact. And Cher I met her through Sync Summit as well. We did a co-write with her husband of a song recently. And Minio Class, who's going to kick us off with some beautiful jazz. Minio has a bunch of albums out, and I met him through Segunda Kimbamba. In Jersey City. I've been friends with them, with Juan and Nanette, for a long time. And just recently, they expanded their Bombi Plena troupe to include just fantastic music. And I heard Minnie on the piano, and then it turned out we had actually sang together at a New Year's Eve party. So these things happen.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Carol. This first piece I'd like to play is from an album that I released about 10 years ago, and I never had a chance to really perform any of it. But now I figured it's a good time. So this is a song called "Stream of Consciousness," and I just need to switch over real quick from the mic. Hold on one second.
God, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I almost couldn't share our page with the hundreds of people I want to share it to because I was mesmerized by the music. It was beautiful. So what was that called again?
That was called Stream of Consciousness.
And so it was. That was really lovely. So now, which album is that on?
That's on an album that I released called An Elusive Dream.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's Minio Class, and I'm going to be posting, everyone, all my Facebook friends, thanks for jumping on and saying hi. I'm going to be posting everybody's links. And later on, we have a special guest coming from Canada also, from a Jane Seabury. And I think a lot of you might know who she is. And so right now, my good friend Chrissy is going to play something. What are you going to play for us, Chrissy?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I'm going to play Fire Escape, which is a song from my album, Songs on the Fire Escape.
And let's all mute ourselves.
Okay. Watch the people walk below as the light turned dim and the sun turned low. Found a piece that I did not know. I stayed there then, stayed there so. And you knew it a while and you knew my name. Held me closely down the sheet. We stays together, will not separate. Sat there watching on the fire escape. You said give me a sip, then I passed the wine. You said some things are easier down the line. Looked at you, wondered what you meant. Let it go, this is heaven sent. Knew it a while and you knew my name. Held me closely down the sheet. We stays together, will not separate. Sat there watching on the fire escape. Something falls to the ground and it goes without a sound. Oh, it falls and let it fly, let it fly. Something falls to the ground and it goes and let it fly. Sitting here alone, nowhere. I tell you this, you don't care. The air is cleaner anyway. I think surely we will stay. And you knew it a while, knew my name. Held me closely down the sheet. Stays together, will not separate. Sat there watching on the fire escape.
Yay.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Carol.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah,
Thank you.
that was beautiful. I know a lot of the harmonies, but you can't jump in on Zoom unless it's a call in, unless it happens in a gap where nothing else is happening.
Yeah,
That
that stinks.
I know.
I love your harmonies on that song.
Someday Zoom will get its thing together and we will be able to do exactly that. Jam online. Someday.
Someday,
Yeah.
someday.
Probably something like if they put a metronome in our ear somehow, we could do it, and then they could sync the video on the other end.
I'm wondering how some of the collaborations that we're seeing, like there's a Metropole orchestra, and there must be like 80 of them.
They're pre-recorded. They record themselves
It's
to the
incredible.
track.
Like, I mean, there's some stuff happening, definitely.
I was just distracted, sorry, but Jam Kazam is a way you could do. You mentioned that, I don't know. I've tried a little bit. You have to have, the key is you can't do Wi-Fi. Everything has to be hardwired Ethernet. And I've tried. I was hoping it was going to work with students because I teach drums and percussion, but I haven't quite gotten it. I got to find other people to jam with. But that does work. They've worked it out, the latency. Jam Kazam, yeah.
Cool.
Can you spell that? Like, is it K-A?
Jam Kazam, Kazam, yeah.
All right.
Oh, I'm going to look that up.
Something like that.
So this song actually could be Jam Kazam, but it's not. But who knows? I'll rewrite it and call it under that title and pitch it to Jam Kazam, and see what happens. I think if I retitle my own songs, it's not a problem, but if someone else does, it's a problem. Right. So I'm going to sing a song called Stand, which normally has a lot of harmony going on. Sometimes the Jersey City Resistance Choir is singing on it. And my friends, Chrissy, a lot of my friends along the way. So if you want to sing along, you can. You just can't open your microphone up. And the poetry comes from 15th century in Hebrew, but it's very timely for today. Everybody stand, well, everybody stand, well, everybody stand and clap your hands. Are you good, peaceful people? Well, everybody stand, everybody stand and clap your hands. Are you good, peaceful people? Im ein anili, ukshe anile atzmi, ve'im lo achshav matai, ve'im lo achshav matai. Well, everybody stand, well, everybody stand and clap your hands. Are you good, peaceful people? Oh, no, not just for some. Every single one of us must become peaceful people. If I am not for myself, who will be? If I'm only for myself, what does that make of me? If not now, then when? Or there will not be anyone else left to stand for peace. Well, everybody stand. Well, todos de pie, y todos unite, y todos de pie, y todos unite para paz a todo el mundo. Oh, no, not just for some. Every single one of us must become peaceful people. Let's be peaceful, peaceful people. Come on, peaceful, peaceful people. Let's be peaceful, peaceful people. Peaceful, peaceful people. Until the ocean covers every mountain high. Let's be peaceful, peaceful people. So Minio, I think that actually at that New Year's Eve party where we met twice, the first time accidentally, the second time also accidentally, but we remembered each other. I think I forced you to play piano on that out of the blue because I said I think these chords are actually like Latin sounding chords. So
I could definitely, yeah. I mean, I could hear some piano on there, but that's my tendency for many things, like, trying to hear where you can like fill in, on stuff. But that's part of like having done a bunch of studio sessions and stuff, like just like the natural inclination. And the other thing with session work is a lot of times we'd be walking in there cold, so you have no idea what you're going to work on. But I just find that fun, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I want to introduce a new friend, Ed Hartman from Ed Hartman Music. And hey, Ed.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good. Very good. It's 75 in Seattle. We're in the summer thing here. This is the best time of year here. So, it's not a big deal being locked down up here at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We went up to about 84 today where I am, but I don't have any AC, but that's okay.
No, there's really not a need for AC in Seattle. It's about 2-3 days a year you kind of want it, but that's it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's dry in the summer, which is nice. I grew up in Chicago where it was reverse.
Yeah, that is pretty
cool. You could cut the air with a knife.
So, Ed, we're going to take a risk here. I really hope that Facebook doesn't decide that this is some violation of something. What are you going to play for us? You had a some songs in a movie, right?
Well, I do a lot of music licensing, and I get music in films and television pretty regularly these days, and they can be. I do mostly instrumentals. I do some vocal numbers. I don't sing. I hire singers to do that. But most of my success has been in instrumentals, and probably the largest placement that I've had is a marching band piece that was in The Blind Side in 2009. And it was through a company called MusicSupervisor.com, which is a wonderful music library that what's special about them is they are non-exclusive, so you can put your music in their library and you can still retain your publishing. And this is important if you're doing licensing. Most of the time when you send it to a library, they take the publishing, or they do what we call retitle, non-exclusively, where they name a different track, and that sends the publishing to them. It's probably illegal and unethical anyway, but Music Supervisor has never believed in that. They pretty much just share the profit on the upfront fee, but let you take all of it. And for a piece to get in this particular film, which when it got in there, nobody knew what this movie was. I was actually at a taxi convention when I heard, oh yeah, you got your track in this movie called The Blind Side. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And it paid okay up front, pretty good at the time. And then that movie just went ballistic. It did $300 million worldwide. It did $50 million overseas, which is remarkable because no football film had ever even bothered to be distributed overseas, because it's a drama. It's really more than a football movie.
Right.
And anyway, and then it started winning Oscars and everything else. I am still making money on that film, and I have my literal 15 seconds of fame here in that. And it's a little marching band tune that I did. What's interesting about the track is I did it on some Roland keyboards and a Tascam 8-track digital. It was pre-DAW, pre-Logic and Pro Tools and all that stuff. And that forced me to play all of my live percussion, which I do anyway. And that anytime you can add a live instrument in your track, that always helps.
Yeah.
And then if I had really just 2 tracks to do, high brass and low brass, so I had to perform this track. I couldn't just kind of mentally, visually, orchestrate it, and that created a liveness to it. So what I'd like to share with you is a little bit of the track itself. I'll share the screen here for a second, and hopefully this will work here. And then, can you see that okay?
Yeah.
This is the track itself. Tell me if it's too loud. Is it okay?
That's fine.
Okay. This is the track itself, and then it'll just pop on, and you'll see the scene. In the
Okay,
scene,
don't talk on top of it. Cool.
Or don't let him get the inside gap on you. Come on, use your hand.
What is Bert doing? Nothing.
All right, so
it's in the background there. Let me flash up to one other quick scene here. This is the
Okay.
same track used same year in Scooby-Doo, The Mystery Begins.
oh my God. Cool.
Yeah.
So now you played all of the instruments on that?
Yeah, I pretty much do everything on all my tracks, unless I want to bring somebody in for something special, like a vocalist.
Right.
But I orchestrate, and if one goal is to orchestrate and have full orchestras play your stuff. But you need a pretty good budget for that sort of thing. When
You
I'm scoring.
you do. Yeah, I co-wrote something recently with a composer from Italy, and fortunately he plays a lot of instruments, but we couldn't afford a string quartet. So
Ed, that sounded terrific, by the way. I have to, I can't
Thank
not
you.
say that. That's like, holy cow! I can't believe that you did all of that. Like, wow, I mean,
No,
is that tuba in there too, like or like trombones or?
Okay, so I had low brass and high brass. That's it.
Okay.
It was just rolling keyboards.
No.
High brass, low brass. Yeah.
I thought it
tracks.
really did sound like somebody was actually playing those things. Usually, I mean, in order to get a realistic effect like that with a synthesizer, usually there has to be some very slight detuning. I don't know if you did that or not, to give it some realism, because between the horns, that's going to happen.
Not in this case. No, it came right out of the keyboards. This was again a Tascam 8-track digital at limited track space. And there's a lesson there in that I believe that when we're working on, say, Logic or a DAW or something, we get very visual and we start to orchestrate intellectually and we start to miss what music is all about, which is kind of a live quality to it. So I more and more when I'm playing and working on Logic, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm trying to use it as a recorder if I can help it. But there are times when you have to be intellectual and you have to edit and all the rest of that stuff. But the performance itself, you got to make it pop at all times. That's always the key.
Well,
That's really cool.
Thank you, Ed.
Cool.
Talking about live performance, we're going to move over to Minio again. Minio, you're going to play something for us.
Sure.
Now, Minio, you also you compose and on your albums. So what are you going to play for us?
This is another piece that I have not performed until now. This is a song called Bird of Sorrow, Flight of Sadness, and it's from An Elusive Dream. It's another song from that album, and I figured, why not, So let me go ahead and play that for you. Let me just switch here. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
That first piece I was going to say Debussy.
You know what? I am a huge fan of Debussy, but his stuff, he was so way ahead. Just shockingly so. It still sounds so new, and I think people that are just learning about his music are often surprised that it was written so long ago, over 100 years ago, and it still sounds shockingly good. But thank you. In comparison to him, holy cow, thank you.
I heard some tonal ranges from Keith Jarrett in their Cone concerts.
It's funny because that's the one that I dig the most from him. The Cone concert. And because he's done so many since then, but that to me was really, first rate,
Put it on violin, crank it up.
Yeah, as a teenager, definitely had to spend some time with that one too.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
The title of the song.
Oh, the title. Bird of Sorrow, Flight of Sadness.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Oh, I'm also a fan of Jean Lupanti, the violinist, who, does these wonderful explorations You know, violin is often thought of in the classical sense, and here's someone who graduated #1 out of Paris Conservatory and then decides to go into electric jazz and fusion, but does these wonderful, well, you know, blends of, you know, using his violin to kind of just cascade through melody and stuff. So it just felt like something like when I finished playing it, because coming up with titles is, holy cow, what a wrestling match that can be sometimes. But it just felt to me like if I was looking at a scene, like a country scene, and you know, seeing like the lone bird kind of like just gliding, you know.
Yeah. So I'll have, you know, you have to, I'm going to give you some people to contact.
Yay.
But you should definitely
Thank you.
hop on in the afternoon to Sync Cafe. It's a really wonderful resource. It's from Sync Summit, Mark Freezer, who actually spoke at a few of our Sunday Songwriters, second Sunday Songwriters events in Jersey City. And the last
Wonderful.
time was right before COVID. And I pulled together, he asked me to pull together like a top 20 list. And the musicians were in the room, Chrissy was there, and a lot of people. And so it was a great opportunity to be heard. So Chrissy, why don't you play something for us?
Sure, thank you. So this is called Denial.
And I'm hearing that high-pitched noise again. So I think it was somebody's fan. So we'll just make sure, but we're muted now, so nobody can hear that. Okay.
Okay. Find a spot that looks perfect. Take a picture in your mind. Everything around it crumbling. In your picture, everything looks fine. Zoom in on that spot. Let reality fall to the side. Denial's not a sin. I tell you, we've all done it, but it's hard to stop once you have begun it. If you decide to face the truth, it'll take a while. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts tonight. Situations get faded. Clarity slips away. And you find yourself looking. You don't say what you were going to say. You cannot pretend. Day after day, long day. Denial's not a sin. I tell you, we've all done it, but it's hard to stop once you have begun it. If you decide to face the truth, it'll take a while. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts tonight. If you can't face the truth of how this thing makes you feel, who's to say what part of your life is real? If you can't face the truth of how this makes you feel, who's to say what part of your life is real? Denial's not a sin. I tell you, we've all done it, but it's hard to stop once you have begun it. If you decide to face the truth, it'll take a while. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts. Denial's not a sin. I tell you, we've all done it, but it's hard to stop once you have begun it. If you decide to face the truth, it'll take a while. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts Thank you.
Very nice. I think I will enjoy it
very
while
nice.
it lasts. Now, is that on the new album, or is that an
That
earlier
is
album?
on the new album, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the production on your new album. It's very crisp and very pretty.
Thanks.
I like the title actually, The Fire Escape, Songs from the Fire Escape. What was that?
Songs on the Fire Escape.
Songs on the Fire Escape. I spent a bunch of time on the Fire Escape listening to transistor radio when I was a kid. For sure.
I spent a lot of time on my Fire Escape when I wrote this whole album, so I just
Nice.
went with it. I just called it what it was, you know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll play something, and since we're talking about fire escapes, I'm going to play a song called Stairwell, which was not a fire escape. It was a song remembering back in high school, although I did it in junior high as well. I would leave class and go sing in the hallway, go sing in the stairwell. And if you were at the bottom and there were 3 floors and it was like marble, by the time my voice would carry up to the top, it would fall back down, it would hit the wall and fall back down, and I could sing harmony with myself. And if I timed it just right, I could sing 3-part harmony with myself. It didn't occur to me that you could hear me in the hallway. But anyway, I didn't get in trouble, so I guess nobody reported me. But this song I wrote many years after high school. Actually, it was right after a 20-year high school reunion, and Janice Ian went to my high school. Not when I went, she went quite a while before me, but so I had just gone to a 20-year reunion and a Yes concert within 4 days of each other. So you might hear a little influence of Yes in here.
Gotta love that band.
Rained down upon my head while I sang in rounds of joy in the stairwell. As the harmony rained down upon my head, well, those moments stayed for years and saved my life in the stairwell. As the harmony rained down upon my I'm Miss Vivian, my percussionist. Did you ever wonder, are you really sure that the road not taken isn't on some guided tour? I slapped my dollar down and held on tight back through the reunion into suburban life. There but for the grace of taste, there but for the slower pace, there but for the fires we stoked, there but for the rules we broke, here but for their fear of strangers, and but for the all-night benders, there but for the city lights, there but for what felt more right. I wore my torn jeans, they wore their jewels, they paid $100. I slipped past the treasurer, I danced to Funky Town. They found their friends, glanced past in high school, and now I'm ignored again. And I remember when the smokers thought I was too smart, the smart kids thought I was too fast, the art kids never looked up much, my boyfriend thought that we would last. I took her at every chance, no one ever guessed that I bloomed between the slanted shafts of sun on marbled steps. Well, I spent my finest times in the stairwell as the harmony rained down upon my head. I sang in rounds of joy in the stairwell as the harmony rained down upon my head. Those moments stayed for years and saved my life in the stairwell as the harmony rained down upon my bathroom stalls. Right, left, right, my locker calls. I felt so awkward and so perplexed. I smoked a lot of bus stop pot and had a lot of downstairs sex. I felt so lonely, so damn scared. Would there ever be a place for me in that world out there? Here I stand, flash forward 20 years on Ashbourne Lane to the country club that never threw me lunch or knew my name. And when the circle shifts and it's my turn for show and tell, the simple treasures of my heart still don't fare too well. I spent my finest times in the stairwell as the harmony rained down upon my head. I sang in rounds of joy in the stairwell as the harmony rained down upon my head. Those moments stayed for years and saved my life in the stairwell as the harmony rained down upon my, I hear the harmony and it's raining down on me, and I hear the harmony and it's raining down. I hear the harmony and it's raining down on me, and I hear the harmony and it's raining down. I hear the harmony and it's raining, rain. It's an embarrassing tell-all. All right.
Very nice.
Thank you. So that's on the album No One Knows. And I didn't play that the whole time my daughter was growing up, although she tells me now that she heard me practicing it. I never played it at shows or anything. And then the first time I played it in public, a gentleman who does indie film in the community asked me if he could have that one particular line about smoking things and having sex on the floor in the living room. I was like, really? That's the one line you want to put in a film? The one I tried to hide for like, all right, but you know, oh well, what can you do?
Was it used in the film? Did they wind up using it? Or?
He's still working on the film, so it's, he's got it, but yeah.
Carol, I have a question. Have you ever done theater?
Not intentionally.
The first thing that came to mind when you were singing that, especially with the transition, is I could see a show. I mean, honestly, I was starting to visualize a Broadway show here.
Well, you and I will have to talk about that. This entire
I may
album,
not be the right person.
This album kind of lends itself to that.
Especially if you had big orchestrations of that. I mean,
right.
that really could be a big number. Where it went in, there was the second section there, the chorus or whatever that is. Man,
it was really fun. The recording is really fun, and actually, I wrote it on the 12-string, which I think you'll recognize more as a yes sound. But Zoom does not actually like a 12-string. So the highs they tend to, I don't know. I tried it a couple times and it just was not a good idea. So, So Ed, what's going on up there?
Well, I had a thought.
Okay.
So I've been doing music for film and TV for about 20 years, and what's happened for me is about 2 years ago, through a very odd situation, not odd, but it was a serendipitous moment where I'm teaching a student years ago. His mother, who was watching on Facebook, I think, comes in and starts taking some percussion lessons for me. And she notices I'm showing her some of my work, and I had put a track against a Buster Keaton scene. And it's a silent movie. Anyway, she says, oh, by the way, I have this great uncle, Richard Lyford, who was a filmmaker, in Seattle in the 30s, and then he worked for Disney and directed an Academy Award-winning documentary in 1950, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to score it? And I'm like, why, sure I would. So I did, and after that I got involved heavily in the film as producer. I edited in missing footage. We put it in Festival City, and to date it's been in 121 festivals. It's won 135 awards, nominations, something like that. I've gotten 34 best scores. So I traveled around visiting festivals, and the learning thing on that one is if you're a composer, you don't get invited to festivals that often, but when you're a producer, guess what? You get invited, and you pick up the award. So anyway, this thing has evolved into a huge deal. The film is on Amazon Prime right now, along with YouTube Music and Google Play. It's going to be on Turner Classic Movies in about a month, which was a negotiation I did myself, which I'm real proud of. So what I'd like to share with you is the trailer for this film, which I put together early on when we had no idea what we were doing. And I have never been a film producer, so this has completely been a whole big deal, and I've learned a lot about it, so I'm now moving into that end of things. So this is a pretty short 2-minute video. I'll share it with you here.
Now, has this trailer played on TV already?
Well, it's on Amazon, so it's on streaming.
It's on streaming.
I have it on YouTube and everywhere else. It's my own music, and I own the film stock on the film. So
Okay.
I mean, this is total ownership at this point. I own the film estate of
Okay.
Richard Lyford. I'm a few feet away from me are cans of film, and we've been digitizing for years.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah, let me share this with you. Yeah, somebody has a problem with it, they're going to have to deal with me.
Right.
Let's see
Facebook
here.
sometimes, because earlier on in the broadcasts of these shows, everything was live.
Yeah.
And then the first time I played an MP3 or a video, all of a sudden Facebook was like, they stopped our stream. But I think this.
Well, I think you'll be all right. Yeah.
Wow, that was very dramatic.
Yeah, I did
That's a lot of
that.
fun.
I did that trailer myself. So, iMovie.
Cool.
So, and yeah, it's been a journey, and now I'm writing a screenplay about the filmmaker. I've never done that. I have no idea if it's going to work, but I'm almost finished with a mini documentary about him, and those are going to wind up on a DVD ideally. That's going to be distributed this year as well. But I have a lot of information about film distribution now and how that whole thing works. And as a composer, moving over to be the client, to be the producer, I'm looking at things from both sides now. And that's always a good thing when you're trying to understand your client. The more you can be your client, the better, because you know what they're going through. Now
Right.
people are pitching me music to be in movies, of course.
So, I don't know if you've ever met Cher Shumbury, but Cher has a catalog called Naz Music, and very iconic iconic American treasures of music. Cher, why don't you talk about it a little bit? Because the two of you actually are have a lot in common here.
We do. So I just noticed you pop up on Sync Cafe in the last week or so, and I thought, there's a new person here. And of course, Mark Saul filled us in on what you do. So basically, I inherited a library, a library that was started in the early 50s. The person who I inherited it from was Jack Millman, who is a principal trumpeter, worked for 20th Century Fox back in the day in the 50s and 60s, him and his father-in-law. And so quite literally, Jack has got about 700 compositions to his name and 10 symphonies. And so when I first met Jack, it was basically to do due diligence, was to go out and say, okay, Mr. Millman, and he hates it when I call him that. But you've done all of this fantastic work, and I'd like to, give you notice of intent for a mechanical license, and we'd like to reproduce this work. Except for instead of doing it a full orchestral piece, we're going to do it down over 2 guitars. So we're going to translate, a fully orchestral piece down to a rhythm and a lead guitar, which he found to be really fascinating. So we went ahead and did a couple of the tunes. We played it for him. He loved what we did. And we talked for hours that day and hung up the phone, and with a yes that we could go ahead and do that. He called me back a day later and it says, how interested are you in licensing? And I said, very interested. I'm doing this for my husband's catalog. But this is an area that we wanted to go in. And so he said, well, look, my catalog is stalled. I'm out of format. Basically, Ed, he delivered 900 reels to me.
Now, his music was in Hollywood movies,
Hollywood
right? When it was analog, and lots of Hollywood movies.
Hollywood movies.
Hollywood has that music, and she's transferring it into digital, and she owns the rights to it, and it's beautiful treasures of American music. He's a fantastic composer, he and your other client who you represent. So maybe a little bit later on we'll cue up one of the songs.
Sure. Just let me know from which catalog, and we'll get it queued up. But yeah, it's an exercise in preservation of musical history. I mean, these were 20th Century Fox guys that had separate writing careers, and the way it would have went. And if you worked for one of the big studios, you worked under your own name, right? So he would work under Jack Millman. But then, he also had all these other writing activities, which he had various different aliases back in the day when you could still have more than one PRO. So Jack had various different writing aliases at ASCAP as well as BMI until they made him merge it all back in the 80s and everything, and how that legislation changed, the aliases and everything. But fantastic piece, fantastic catalog, very much West Coast jazz, 1950s and 1960s West Coast jazz, orchestral as well as jazzettes, as well as, big bands, a lot of fantastic, and I'm going to say 90%, if not 92% of the catalog is instrumental, obviously, because that was the music that was done back in that day. And I know you can't quite see it all.
Oopsie. Oh my gosh.
But here are some of the reels right now that have just come up from storage, and then there's all the paperwork over there.
Okay.
It's
really fascinating. And so what we'll do is we'll try to cue something up a little bit later. But talking about live jazz, we've got Mineo Class here. Thank you, Cher Chambry from Naz Music.
Okay, well, this next piece that I'd like to play, actually, my brother had a restaurant in Seattle, and it was called Mona's. And so, you know, like, it was one of those things where I hadn't gone to the restaurant, but I missed my brother and kind of like, you know, wrote this tune. And, you know, it did eventually get to play it there, so that was really nice. But that's the next piece I'm about to play. It's called Mona's. So let me just go ahead and do that.
I used to live real near there.
Oh, so you know it. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Good restaurant.
Wow, how cool is that? All right, let me go ahead.
You could go on for another 5 minutes. I mean, that was. Do you find it hard to end a piece like that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I feel like you know, like I'm hearing like a swing behind me and stuff. You know, I know Ed knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know, because when I did that originally, I had. You know, I had some vocals and stuff to it too, so it's a little unusual for me, you know, just doing this like. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's another thing too, you know, intros, outros, you know. Yeah, it was just trying to get like, you know, what would I be listening to if I was in a restaurant, you know, and just hanging out, and so.
Well, I felt like it ended much too fast. You know? So your melody, were you singing it or was somebody else singing it?
Yeah, I mean, I had, it was like you know, when I walk in, they began to treat me with a smile and welcome to you as if they knew you. The place was warm, quite out of the norm, and I had to say the place was quaint, tacky it ain't, and I must say, Mona's that place to the place I want to be, you know. So it's kind of like that kind of vibe, you know. I had Will Williams, a friend of mine, singing a tune, and Will's a terrific singer, but he's so terrific that like between Labor Day and Memorial Day, you can't get him. you know, because he's usually down at Atlantic City singing with the Soul Searchers, and you know, they do a wide range of things. But yeah, so.
Well, that was really wonderful. I'm going to post everybody's links again on the Facebook page. And remember to say hi. A bunch of people are saying hi.
Oh, okay.
I will, actually, I should pull up their names, but I have something prepped on my phone for after Chrissy. So, Chrissy, why don't you play something for us? But you are muted right now.
Yes, I unmuted myself.
So,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, so you know, I used to watch Monty Python all the time, and I don't know if I was mishearing it, but I thought one of the lines was, "He turned me into a mute. I got better." Anyway, but someone else told me they thought it was newt. He turned me into a newt. But anyway, if you're Lori out there who sat next to me in science and we recited the Monty Python routines from the night before instead of paying attention in science every single day. Hi, Lori. So Chrissy, what are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play a song called Intangible that's from
I
my
love
album,
that song.
Yeah.
I might try to sneak a harmony in way at the end.
Okay.
Just at the end. Okay.
Everything that could be all the world to
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks,
Wonderful.
guys. Thank you.
That is so beautiful.
Thank you.
So
It's fun to play.
that's on the new album too, right?
Oh, actually, that's on a previous album called Handcrafted.
Handcrafted.
Yeah, no,
right.
that's not on this album.
No.
Yeah. I had to think about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
It's so, it brings up so many emotions and pictures, but that's the interesting thing about music. It's so impressionistic, and it can be intellectual as well, but that was just, really just like a nice emotional ride.
I love using imagery in my songs and my lyrics, so yeah, I love going somewhere else with my songs. It's fun, and it makes it so fun to play.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try something here. I think I did it before, but let's see.
Battery 90%.
Battery 90%.
Connected to iPhone.
Thank you. I have some backing tracks from this song from the new album, and this is called Little Blue Sand Fairy, and it's about my daughter when she was little, running back and forth on the beach at a certain time of night where the sun is setting and everything kind of starts turning blue, and the sand and the sky and the people, and so this is that. Is that level okay? When the waves kiss the shore and they rise, sun-drenched days, skimming stones, as we chase the tide, we chase the tide. Wind sparkled seagulls, silver cries, glistening moon spilled turquoise skies, run to the dunes where the tall grass hides. Chase the tide, arms held wide. Chase the tide. Little blue sand fairy runs to me. Oh, she comes to me. She runs to me. Seashells in her hands, laughing treasured plans that she brings to me. Her heart sings to me. Oh, what she brings to me. Wind sparkled seagulls, silver cries, glistening moon spilled turquoise skies, run to the dunes where the tall grass hides. Chase the tide, arms held wide. Oh, chase the tide.
Is that Peter on the piano?
Yeah, that's Peter on the piano.
It's wonderful.
No, wait a minute. No, that was me on the piano.
Then, yay, wonderful.
Right, in that song, that was me on the piano.
Very nice.
Right, Peter's on the piano in almost all the other songs. So that one and Thankful, I'm on the piano.
Yeah,
Although I did have some help from Chopin. So there was a
Always a
ballad.
good guy to get help from. Absolutely.
Right. A friend of mine was just an unbelievable classical pianist, and she was playing this piece and playing and playing and playing. Our kids were about the same age, and they were, running around. I was watching them, and she was practicing. And then she got to this interlude in the piece, and it was, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I have a piano right here. Oh boy. So, and of course, I just unplugged my sound. Can you hear the sound, or did I unplug it?
We can hear you.
Okay. So she was playing this beautiful piece, and it was, let's see, Chopin Ballade in G, an interlude. And that particular little piece of the song, I don't know, I just heard a much better melody in my right hand than he had. So I I borrowed his left hand and just wrote that song to it and then expanded. So that one little part turned into the verses, but then I added some more, arpeggiation and some different chords for the chorus. But it was just very pretty piece.
Some nice harmonies there.
Thank you. So let's see. So we're actually waiting for Jane Seabury to come on. I hope she's not having a hard time. I hope she's not trying to call me or anything. Let's see. Minio, could you play something else while I just make sure I'm not getting messages from...
Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Okay. And then we're going to go over to Ed. And great.
This is a guitar piece that I wrote. I don't write many of them, but this is a song that I wrote, and it's called "Luz," which in Spanish means light. And here we go. Let's give this a shot. Let me know if it's not coming in or anything like that. I think it should be okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
That was beautiful.
Appreciate
So we switched. You switched from piano to guitar, and I switched from guitar to piano.
it. Yeah.
So let's see. So that was Minio class, and I'm so excited. Jane Seabury has just hopped on after her evening meditation. How was you teach a meditation class in the evening, Jane? So
teaching meditation?
yeah, how did it go?
No, wasn't teaching, but it's just a reset for all of us. It started in the pandemic, and we just met every night and just kept trying to reset to calmness, and it kept going. And tonight we spoke to a tortoise in the Caribbean. Jonathan, he's I think 170 years old, spoke. Well, we just got peaceful enough that maybe we could feel him, what it was like to be a tortoise. So that was fun. You never know who's going to show up.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, we have fun.
So it was a nice group. And you're all blissed out now? Okay. So Jane, do you want to sing something for us, or do you want to wait? And what would you like to do? We'd love to hear something from you.
Yeah,
of course. Those of us have been fans for years.
Oh well, I said sure to Carol, and never thinking that I'd have to play something. I just thought we'd talk or something, but sure. I'd love to play something. I'm just going to play a verse from something that I really forgot how much I love the song. But, the walking constantly, and the stream of endless dreams that wheel and roll just past my shoulder. The waiting and constantly, and the shift of sifting through the facts, the fate you never know for sure. I was sure until they asked me, now I don't know. All I know is something touched me. Shadows lift my fingers, don't let them cool. Every now and then things become clear. That there's nothing that will bring you back. There's nothing that will change this fact. There's nothing that I will take back your shoes. Okay, after your shoes. Oh, this is the high part. I think I'll just back off and be a chicken. I have to really go for it, and I'm a bit nervous. Is that okay?
That's fine. Da 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 da.
Yeah. Your shoes, you left your hat, it's on the bed, bug off. Sort of idea. Bug off, but come back. Go away, come back, go away.
Yeah, you can speak the lyrics. That's okay. I love your poetry.
Yeah. I tell everyone a different story. That way nothing's ever boring, even when they turn and say you lie. Petals drifting past my shoulder, or maybe snow, I'm cold, I'm not sure. Someone yelled at me, I that wheel and roll just past my shoulder. That wheel and roll.
Yeah.
You still got it, Jane. You still got it.
James is not clapping.
James, that's his photo. That's his like bouncer photo. He is our sound guy.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
He's been silly.
He hides behind his picture. So
Yes, we noticed.
I wouldn't mind hiding behind this picture. Whatever that means, I don't know. Sounded good.
So that was really beautiful. I just downloaded your new song, Venus.
Oh, yeah.
And when did you release that?
A few months ago.
Oh, okay.
I've just started doing releasing song by song, and that was the first one.
Right.
Not waiting to do a record, so to speak.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'll put the link up in our Facebook feed so people can go there. I actually have everybody's links to just your general, websites, but I'll put that one up. And it's funny because I also just finished reading a novel called The Birth of Venus. So, and then the song Venus was playing in the background, and I was reading The Birth of Venus, and it's been a very Greek goddess type of week. So,
well, that before the goddesses were the planets, I guess. I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the cultures where there were goddesses, where,
You mean just goddesses, not gods?
Well,
I wasn't sure where you're coming from.
Right. My theory is that when man discovered that they had something to do with birth and conception, that the whole game changed. Because before that, I think women, in tribal groups, we would menstruate together at the full moon. I think it was a very powerful, scary thing, cause and effect. Maybe we created the full moon by doing this. We bleed and don't die, and all as a group. And I think for a long time on Earth, women were more powerful just by default, by a magical default. Maybe not physically, but there was some sort of, sorcery kind of thing going on. And I think that, maybe that's shift, understanding that a child was half of a man, all of a sudden, the only way to have that kind of control was to take over a woman and to own the woman. And this got kind of deep. Anyway.
I think that's pretty modern, isn't it? Weren't there a lot more matriarchal cultures long ago?
Yeah, there were.
But one thing that confuses me in this kind of discussion is a lot of people own the gender they're in right now in this lifetime, but I think that we switch back and forth a lot if you believe in reincarnation. So, what are we owning? That doesn't make sense that we're
right.
Could have been many things.
I think that's karma.
And we're really half of a whole, so.
Well, would you introduce me to the other musicians?
I would love to. So, Jane Seabury, I would like for you to meet Minnie O'Class, who you heard play before.
Lovely.
Lovely to meet you as well. Very, very nice.
And Jane Seabury, I'd love for you to meet Chrissy Roberts, friend of mine, wonderful musician from Jersey City.
Yeah, from Jersey City. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what your poetic soul likes to say in song.
Chrissy's going to be playing next, and I want to introduce you to Ed Hartman from Ed Hartman Music.
Ed, hi, nice to meet you. I was looking at all the things you've done on your website.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel a little out of place here a little bit. I do play live, but my marimba and vibes are in the room in the back, and I don't really have a good way to. So I'm kind of playing tracks and videos and stuff like that.
No, I like it. It's inspiring. Plus, you said that you would do like those things on your piano if you turn to your right, right?
Oh yeah, no, I can be a little.
Why don't you be dramatic when we introduce Cher?
Well, that's good.
There she is. It's Cher Chambry from Naz Music.
Cher, because my dad thought it was funny. So, Sonny and Cher. He's a hippie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Cher manages a beautiful catalog of music. Who are the two gentlemen again?
Well, there's the namesake, Nazareno, who has about 120 of his own original compositions, and it was for him that this journey originally began. And halfway through that journey, we met up with one of his heroes, Jack Millman,
That's right,
who basically became a client of ours. And at this point, like I said, Jack is willing or inheriting the entire library to me after he passes. He doesn't have any children of his own. And so he's quite taken up with Naz and I. So this is his gift to us. So our gift to him is to bring it into the correct format and run with it.
And
Let's get that music working.
And Mr. Holiday as well, right?
Yeah, Johnny Holiday is a good friend of Jack. Johnny Holiday is 94. Jack is 90 this year. All of my clients are old. It's great. They have wonderful stories to tell, which I try and record as many as possible. And we're putting together a book, Reflections from Hollywood about, and we've got, and Jack also is a very prolific writer. He writes poetry. He's penned his own autobiography. This man just exudes creativity, and so we're giving him the full treatment, right? We're publishing all of his symphonies, as well as his creative works, as well as his poetry, as well as his stories. So there's a lot to be published with Jack, and so for a 90-year-old, I'm pretty damn proud of him.
Well, you're quite a blessing, Cher. You really are. I mean, it's a really wonderful, beautiful thing that you're doing with these two gentlemen and their music. And thank you for keeping it alive for us.
That's the whole thing. It's to keep the music alive. Instead of these things expiring in archive format, I'm rescuing the reels. I have 900 reels in this house right now, and only 200 are done. So it's a labor of love, and it's what you do when you are given the opportunity. I'll quickly quote this to you. I met a gentleman many, many years ago. He unfortunately died of pancreatic cancer. But before he died, he went on a tour to, say hello and goodbye one last time to all his friends. And so I was in Toronto at the time. Actually, I was in London. So I drove to Toronto. Jane, you know about all of London and Toronto and everything. So I drove from London to Toronto to go see him. And he was up at the airport. He was in one of the hotels over by the airport. And he had a huge room and everything, and I just couldn't believe how many people were there. And he came up to me and he goes, "I know who you are. I know you're Cher." He goes, "Cher, I have something very specific to say to you." He says, "Many opportunities are going to present themselves to you. My question to you is, are you brave enough to open the door and walk through?" And that was the most profound thing that was ever said to me. Okay, I look at everything as an opportunity, and John told me himself that I got to be brave enough to walk through the door. And this is just another example of that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And fear is the enemy for sure. I'm doing things now I never thought I was going to do, and I really appreciate that. And every time I do something, I'm come up to a new task, and for a moment I go, I don't know, should I email that person or call them? Call them. Ooh, wow, that's the real one. And then I go, what the hell? What do I got to lose? I'm old now. I don't care. And that's one great thing about getting old, is you don't give a hell anymore about anything. So just throwing that out there.
I think we have a nice opportunity during this time to be able to be intimate from far away with lots of people in this kind of a format. I do miss being in person, because there's nothing like actually feeling the energy coming off a person. So I want to go back to some music. I want Chrissy to play some music for us. And Now, James, you look shy. We'll introduce you to Jane later, okay? If you don't want to pop your picture out there. But let's all mute ourselves and we'll have a song from Chrissy Roberts. I know her. I better say her last name because otherwise you won't know where to go for her music. Chrissy Roberts.
Thanks, Carol. This is Solitude. I sit in solitude on this early morning train. It rumbles over concrete and brushes through the rain. Although my thoughts are running, I will keep my body still. I rest my elbow high above foggy windowsill, and I believe the day holds much more than it seems, and what's found in desire is bound to our dreams. I believe that all that I've dreamt of is true. What got kicked back to me were things that had started with I think I've seen this day before, or was that yesterday? 100 times to say hello, with 100 times to pray. You know that trains have their stops, they can only go so far. Capture the rhythm of music, let it take you from where you are. And so I believe day holds much more than it seems, and what's found in desire is bound to our dreams. I believe that all that I've dreamt of is true. What got kicked back to me were things that had started with you. The street it goes running and running around. Won't tip-top, these wheels are just bound to the ground. These wheels go round and round and round and round and round. Round Some people never move an inch. They know they can't turn back. But we have one life, one love, one chance, one day, one heart, one track. And I believe a day holds much more than it seems, and what's found in desire is bound to our dreams. I believe that all that I've dreamt of is true. What got kicked back to me were things that had started with you. It started with you. Started
Yeah.
Wow,
Excellent.
that was so beautiful. So, whoops.
That was in 3/4, right?
Yes,
Dun,
yes,
dun,
that was
dun,
in
with the
3/4
wall.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Has such a different energy. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
really pretty. Um, so let's see. Minio, why don't you play something? Minio class.
Sure. Okay. So
You gonna
all
do
right.
piano this time or guitar?
Yeah, the piano. I'll do some piano this time. This is from the new album, I guess, or the one I just released last November's Depth of Class, and I have to spell depth because people think I'm saying death.
Oh.
I'm not saying death. I'm saying DEPTH. So this is called Estudio de Arpeggios, which is a nice way of saying study of arpeggios. Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Little Carla Bley kind of went in my head. I don't know if that rings.
I've heard the name. I've heard the name Carla Bley. I can't. I'm trying to. I mean, is she a piano player?
Composer, piano player, Gary Burton.
Oh, Gary Burton.
Like
yeah,
that.
no, I've heard his work
that.
with Pat Metheny. That I have heard.
Yeah, before that, before I hired Pat Metheny, actually, he was doing
You hired Pat Metheny?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
Burton hired Pat Metheny.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm good friends with Pat.
Wow, that's awesome.
No,
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, there were some ECM records that kind of was reminiscent of that. It was a wonderful label. Yeah.
Yeah, no, ECM definitely. I dig that stuff.
Nino.
Thank you so much.
Nino.
Yes.
Nino.
Yes.
I thought it was so interesting because you sometimes you let the phrases flow into each other, like the bars flow into each other, and then sometimes you did this weird thing, like you'd da 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 da, and you'd like contain, like his breathing. You contained it. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
And then you'd go to the next bar, and then that would flow to the next bar, and then. But whenever you chose to do that, I don't know what inside you directed that, but it was so musical, I thought. And I was listening as if I was lying on the ground watching the stars.
Oh,
And,
that's a terrific image.
If you could hear, the different shapes of the stars and how they cross each other and create new patterns and stuff like that. I think that's what it would sound like, arpeggios that change, just change like panes of glass crossing, and like beautiful. It must feel so great to play that.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think the thing that I try to find myself doing is trying to let things breathe. Let things, it's space is okay too. Like it's okay to just play a couple of notes and I find that there's a certain broadness, there's a wideness that it gives it, especially on the piano where, there's so many things that you can express. It's such a self-contained, almost like orchestral type of, instrument. But yeah, absolutely. And I find that making use of space, it helps in many instances, and taking that breath, like a pause, can absolutely have a thrilling effect. Absolutely.
Thrilling, yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting. There was a song I was trying to record that goes in and out of time. And I'm so used to playing it live and not caring about perfect rhythm that, maybe I should just record it live because it has that, it is important, Jane. I do agree. It is important that music actually be organic.
I would agree. Totally. And Reno's writing style is very much like that as well. It allows the instrument to speak for itself, and sometimes that requires a carefully crafted pause.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Who are we to say that we know better than the music to keep it to a click? Like that some parts are completely married to the words and the spirit of it when they have their own tempo.
The click has its challenges sometimes because sometimes you want to change the tempo in a song, and
yeah.
Orchestral music, you have a conductor that slows things down, speeds it up, let it breathe, the whole thing, and that's one of the dangers with recording is you have to allow for that, and it's difficult to do. So I agree. You have to let the music lead the tempo whenever you can. It's just nowadays we're more strict on that everything tends to have a BPM to it, a beats per minute, to sell it. So, but that's the modern era. Even the Rolling Stones, in most rock bands, they weren't playing with click, and a lot of those recordings are not perfect nowadays. That's considered imperfect, and that's crazy.
Yeah. So, Minio, when you were playing, I was going to play a different song, and then I have a feeling that the tuning of this guitar and this song is similar to the key you were just playing in. But anyway, this song is called Little Blue. No, I already sang that one. This one is called Dreaming 3 into 1. And I had a dream, and my husband was in it, my daughter was in it, I was in it. but it started out, I was in the car and there was a song on the radio and I was thinking, wow, how come I can't write something like that? And then I realized, wait a minute, this is a dream. I better get up and write this down. So the song turned into I tried to recreate the feeling between dreaming, sleeping, and waking. And let me know if you can hear the guitar parts and my voice. On the thin line of dawn, just between the gray and gold, silver chimes ring their tones clear and strong. 3 echoes now unfold in rhyme. Mama, Papa, baby are still sleeping now. Daylight's halo dancing on our skin. Feel the flowers open to the tender glow. Dreams pour out as wishes wander in. Feel the moments expand and unwind, flying us up to the sun. Worlds have been traveled from deep in our minds. Dreaming, we three into one, into one. I am driving in the car, he is talking to a friend. She's at school, only 3 pillows apart as the breeze is wandering. Gravity with no rules. Mama, Papa, baby are still sleeping now. Daylight's halo dancing on our skin. Feel the flowers open to the tender glow. Dreams pour out as wishes wander in. Feel the moments expand and unwind, flying us up to the sun. Worlds have been traveled from deep in our minds. Dreaming, we three into one. Dreaming 3 into one. Into one. Dreaming 3 into one.
Yeah. Woo!
I love your chords in that song.
Thank you. I can't tell you what they are. But
Really cool. They're really
I know I've heard you play that before. I dig that tune.
thank you.
Yeah.
You do a rhythmic one, I call it 3 into 2, and it can. You know, I've never demonstrated this, but I feel this is the appropriate time. I can wiggle my ears,
Okay.
but I can do them.
Nice.
I can do them individually. See?
That was the perfect time for that.
And I can do polyrhythms with my ears together, left, right, left.
Boy. Okay.
I have another scene if you're interested.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but Jane, are you going to be singing something for us before?
Oh yeah, but
Let's have Ed do his scene, and then we'll come back to
yeah,
you.
yeah. What's his
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, a
Ed,
video.
I can't
Quick
wait.
Video. So one of the latest things I've gotten a placement on is a 1950s Muzak track, kind of a pizzicato strings thing. And this is from the sublime to the ridiculous, basically following you guys. But anyway, I had made a short video of the track for YouTube, just for kind of my own promotional purposes, when the pandemic started, to kind of, when people are at home watching movies, it would be a kind of a let's go to the lobby kind of a video. And I put together music using Pixabay scenes, images and video. There, you can go there, pixabay.com, and grab images and video without attribution. I always attribute Pixabay, but you can make your own videos. I do them on iMovie, and they come out pretty good. Anyway, this same track was also in a music library, Crucial Music, which is one of the toughest libraries to get your stuff in. You can only put about 3 tracks in every 3 months. And they took this track, and it was recently placed in the Twilight Zone, which is huge, epic placement as far as I'm concerned, because that's and it's a really good episode. It's the last one on season 2. So I've had to do the CBS All Access just to watch it. Anyway, but I want to play it really quick. This is like a 2-minute Let's Go to the Kitchen video. Then I'll just play a very, very short excerpt from the show itself here. So here we go. Let me do this here.
And we'll all mute ourselves?
Oops, that didn't do fit to screen. That's not what I want. I want full screen. Enter full screen. There we go. Is it working? I'm spinning. Now, real quick here, this is...
Wait a minute. That was so good. That was really fantastic.
If I wasn't intermittent fasting, I'd be running for a sandwich right now.
I know.
All right.
So good.
Let me
Station where you get to play
Zone.
with matches and to watch it all burn. Don't forget, every Wednesday, kids eat free.
Yeah, it's dark, but it's funny. It actually has some of the original characters from the original Twilight Zone in the 60s in it.
It's great.
Episode. Yeah.
It's
so
great.
I have hundreds of stories, and before I forget, my website is edhartmanmusic.com. I did put it on Facebook, and I do a newsletter. It's in the 8th year of licensing. and tell all my adventures. And each of these stories has an adventure to it as well. I also teach licensing. I have classes through North Seattle College a couple times a year. That's online coming up in October, and then I've been meeting one-on-one with people quite successfully. And with Zoom, it's great because I can share not only that, but websites like Taxi, Songtrader, BMI, all of those things, and really show people what it takes to do this. So there's a pretty good checklist on what you need to do to be successful at this. And it's not just for composers that are doing what we call source music that's on a radio or something like that.
Checklist on what you need to do to be successful at this.
Oops, somebody has their phone.
Sorry about that, sorry.
Anyway, it's also about songwriters and vocals and all the rest of it. What I tell people is there is a huge demand for music in media. There's a lot more people that are doing it, but there's almost an unending demand for it. So no matter what kind of music you're writing, somebody needs it somewhere. The big key to the whole thing, though, is to understand that a television show or a film is not interested in promoting you as an artist. They have their own project that they're doing, so your music has to fit what they want. But if you can make that work, it's a huge boon to your career, because it's not just a matter of maybe some money up front and some back-end royalties, which are, again, still paying 20 years later, but it's your music is all of a sudden in front of millions of people as opposed to a couple hundred on Spotify. And face it, nobody's making money on Spotify that I know. So,
Well, you don't like a 40th of a cent? You don't like a 40th of a cent,
right,
Ed?
yeah.
That's right. 1/40th of 1 cent, wow.
There was a calculator,
Wow.
somebody on Music Gateway, and basically 1,000 streams equaled, $1.50 on YouTube and maybe $4 on Spotify, Those
Well,
are
I
not-
know, so I actually believe I signed up for your newsletter.
Right.
And it's been a real pleasure, Ed.
Thank you.
Your music is fantastic, and I know you wanted to talk more, but I love your music. So
people can contact me and ask me questions, and I use them in newsletters. So they can. And I've been trying to get involved with a lot of the sync Facebook groups and things like that, and I'm finding people have a lot of questions on there.
Yeah.
But just having a plan is really the issue on this whole thing. It's not that hard to do. It's not nuclear science to do this.
Right.
So when you're doing songs, that I'm sorry to interrupt. Like, you have songs that are already that you post up. I guess that these companies can check out. If they feel like, hey, I could use that for this
right.
movie. But also it seems like you're also creating content specifically for certain things as well. Like you do that also, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've moved from just being a musician that creates tracks and puts them in music libraries or portals where they can be sold, but and I used to perform a lot too. I've also become a producer, and at a small level, just making YouTube promotional videos to get more work for scoring or whatever that is one way to do it. By becoming involved in this other film, I'm now starting to create pretty major content potentially if I can get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a whole nother world. And again, anytime you can become a producer and make your own stuff, you're covering both bases. So I always recommend that as well.
It's pretty interesting. Now I know that Jane Seabury had, music in film and TV. But that's not what you wanted to talk about. So unless you do, but I would love to hear another song if you can.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play something that I'm just working on in my head, so I've never heard it outside of my head, but this is what I want to talk about.
Good.
There's something I'm confused about, something that's puzzling me, something I want to do something about, something is bothering me. There's a courtyard and a court and cement steps and people sitting on the benches in a little town in East St. Louis. And they are 2 rungs below ground zero in hopelessness and knowing they can't pay their for a car, so they ride everywhere on their bicycle, but then they got stopped by a cop, and the cop gave them a ticket for not having a light. So all their efforts to not spend money came to an end that night. So they're sitting in a courtroom in East St. Louis, the St. Clair County Jail to be exact. They're going to jail for not paying a stupid ticket, and it's only money. There's something very wrong with that. So this is my question. How much is that jail owed in unpaid fines? We're not talking about people who've committed any crimes. And how do we get the total in one figure? The total that someone can pay, it's just money. So my question, to say once more time, is how much does each jail have outstanding in unpaid tickets and fines? We're not talking about people who've hurt others. We're just talking about petty crimes. So if someone can find out how to reach the jail, if someone can find out exactly how much is outstanding, then we can pay off all their fines and we'll get it's just money. Okay, that's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to talk about. It's
Yeah.
It seems so simple. They can't pay their tickets, so we'll pay their tickets, and then they can go home and maybe get their job back and be with their family if the kids haven't been taken away because there's no money coming in and blah, blah, blah. And it just seems it's just money that's stopping them from going home. It seems crazy.
That's a major social issue that you're talking about. It's a major and current. I mean, people are locked up for months and months just because they don't have money to pay for their petty
Just because
whatever.
they don't have money.
Just because they don't have money, so they're locked up. So they can't. They have, yeah. It's a sad thing. Yeah, absolutely.
I know there's many, many layers above that.
Oh, sure.
Jails and prisons should be cleared, but I just thought this is one tiny little thread. And how can I get the number to the accountant? A single figure, how much is owing? So that's sort of what I'm doing. That's what I'm thinking about. And I sort of sang it tonight in case anyone has any ideas for.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, these old Rockefeller laws that are still on the books, and that's,
right. We're not supposed to have debtor's prison anymore.
Oh, good point.
That's what it used to be called, and
late
it was
1800s.
outlawed.
You're right.
It was outlawed in the 1800s, but that's what it's turned into.
Absolutely.
Debtor's prison.
That's absolutely very good call there. Very good catch.
But
we have to say it. We have to, what?
Try to call a jail. I don't know where this information is kept. It's a mystery to me. Try to call a jail and see how much is owing. It's a strange rabbit hole, but I believe that it should be simple anyway. So try. Pick a nice jail in the south and try calling them.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask them how, so like your lyrics said, ask them to add up how much is owed. And then I'm sure we could do a GoFundMe page and.
Nah, too slow. Just like, too slow.
Yeah.
Just like people with excess cash who want to have it working like a good little soldier. There must be people like that. I would be like that if I had it. I know I would. But it's so simple. It's just money, like $100,000, and this many people at 3 jails can go home tonight. Just money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Jane. So, Jane, do you have any? I know you. I looked on your website. You had a songwriting workshop going on. Do you have another one coming up?
No, but I'll tell you. The point of the workshop was to create more songs for special occasions, because I'm hearing too many horrible songs at weddings. That people are scraping the bottom of the barrel just to. You're so beautiful, but I'm a loser, so you're marrying a loser, sort of thing. there's so many songs that aren't saying it. So we wrote songs for people about to die. We wrote songs that they would like to hear sung after they die. We wrote songs for separating from your partner but celebrating it, like thanking them formally, and songs for coming out formally. So that was the point of it, and it was very exciting because people really got into it. I don't know when I'll do it again, but it was really all these songwriters with nothing to do, and great songwriters.
Well, I would actually like to study with you, so let me know when you do another one.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Jane Seabury and yay,
Yeah.
and Minio Class.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And Chrissy Roberts. Yay.
Hey, that was
Very
terrific.
nice.
And Cher Chambry from Naz Music.
I want to talk to you.
And Ed Hartman from Ed Hartman Music. And next time, we're going to make you play those. There we go. Also, Ed let me know he plays the marimbas. Now, marimbas and Minio and Ed, and I don't know. I think something could be going on here next time. So
Send me a
definitely.
track.
Oh, yay.
And I want to thank our friend James Lane from Hot Indie Media for doing our sound for us.
Thank you, James.
You can come out wherever you are. Come out.
Just for a second. Come on. You don't see it? Come on, James. Yay! Almost.
Almost.
Come on, James. Not that hard. Just click the button. Aww.
That's what. He said his camera's not working. Okay.
Aww.
Well, the picture looks great, so that's a good thing.
It is. You know, it makes us very official. You're like our bouncer here. So we all had to make sure we used good language. I want to thank everybody so much, and it's been a real pleasure sharing the evening with you. And thank you all our Facebook friends who came on and said hello. I know a lot of you know these people, so some of them are new to me, but they're not new to you. So I want to thank everybody for hopping on and joining us today. So Beth and Kim, Lyford Bishop and Michelle, and oh my gosh, there's like a whole list of people. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next Sunday, okay? And
take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Fun. Bye, Minio.
Bye now.
Thanks.
Have an awesome day.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
bye. Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Cher. Thanks, Minio. Thanks,
Thank
Jane,
you.
so much. Thanks, Chrissy.